I love that song. I love that song. I know. All right, guys, we are here live, and after 8 long hours, we can finally say we have crossed that hurdle which has always stopped us. And if you all are, there for some poetic justice and everything, revenge, whatever you want to talk about, we have defeated Black Caps in a World Cup semi-final. 4 years,
Twice in a
guys.
row. I
Twice in a
mean,
row, not
twice,
just that.
yeah.
You wanted that revenge. 4 years you won. You lost in WTC, T20 World Cup, everywhere, and you took a revenge when it mattered the most. Virat Kohli's 50th hundred. Mohammad Shami's 7 for best bowling figures in one day international by an Indian. What a moment! And Virat Kohli's most hundreds by a batter in history of one day cricket. Oh, what a moment! I have Sandeepan and Jaren. Jaren, describe me. What does it feel right now?
Beyond words, I'll be frank. I was just, standing outside my balcony after Mohammad Shami took his seventh wicket, and it was almost like Diwali had just come back. There were, crackers bursting everywhere. The sky was lit up, but I think it's nothing close to what we saw today from the Indian team. It was just spectacular. As a fan, you just feel that warmth from inside you, especially towards the middle overs. You felt like there was some flashbacks from 2016 West Indies, how West Indies really took the momentum back after India scored a very imposing target in Wankhede, and then they came back strong. But Mohammad Shami, what a baller, man! I mean, this lad at this point in time, give him the Bharat Ratna for God's sake. This guy has just been amazing. He's turned the game around for us from the moment, right? I mean, I was really worried when he dropped that catch. He did bring it up in that post-match interview as well. When he dropped that catch, I thought, okay, things are not going
Guys,
India's
spam
way because
Lehrado in the chat right now. Spam Lehra in the chat.
oh yeah, I
Come
mean,
on, chat.
yeah, I think that song really encapsulates how every Indian fan would be feeling today, because wow, I mean, it was just it was just the reason why we love this game. These are the moments why we love this game.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, lovely, lovely atmosphere today. I mean, freaking amazing. I mean, to be very honest, Gaurav says congratulations. Lehrado is just going on in the chat. Fantastic, fantastic day. But Sandeepani, I mean, we'll have to talk about the moment, then we'll go to the past because Virat Kohli's 100 seemed like it happened on day one of a test match because it's been so long, man. I mean, as an Indian watching this game, you had flashbacks. Like Jaren mentioned, that West Indies game 2016 hit you hard couple of times, that catch draw from Shami, but Shami was like, I am the destroyer and I will only destroy New Zealand. He came back, right? He picked up all the wickets he wanted. He picked up Williamson, he picked up Latham, he picked up Phillips, he picked up the main batters. I mean, that was as clinical as it could have ever gotten. I mean, let's be honest, this was the game you had to win and you crossed that hurdle.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this was a very, very satisfying win for India, especially given the circumstances, given how we had to exit the 2019 World Cup, how we hadn't won against New Zealand in an ICC event for almost 20 years. So I think everything said and done, I think this was a must-win game for India, and I think it was there right from the start itself. They haven't set a foot wrong. I think somewhere in the middle, I think the fielding might have been a cause of concern. There was some panic out there,
Yeah.
some nerves, some misfield, some sloppy work out there in the middle, in the outfield fielding as well. But apart from that, I think the bowling, the batting has been very, very clinical. This is the second time that India has gone on to
You can
post.
just take this question as well. ऐसे bold को last time कब पीटे थे जी कब पीटे थे
Yeah, I
देखा.
think ऐसे
I think
बोल्ट
it
को
was
last time पिटते
ऐसे ही
हुए
हुआ था ना South Africa के खिलाफ. Or
yeah,
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 Pakistan.
against South Africa, against Australia, I think Bolt did not have a
Pakistan
very
as
good
well.
World Cup.
Yeah, against Pakistan as well.
Yeah. But
अब
yeah,
India
exactly. Bolt
अब
did not have a very good
India
World Cup, and Bolt's strength lies in the opening spell. And right from the sixth, that Rohit Sharma hit off Bolt, coming down the track, hitting him over covers in the third over. I think the intent was clear that Bolt wouldn't be allowed to settle down today. Similar was the case
गौरव
with
भाई
the
आप
team
तो
South.
इंग्लैंड फैन है यार, आपको तो कुछ भी चलेगा. हमारा मेंटेलिटी के बारे में सोच लीजिए. हम न्यूट्रल है इस बारे में. हमको मजा नहीं चाहिए भाई. हमारा ब्लड प्रेशर तो ऊपर नीचे.
I want the most bowling game as finals. I want a game like India versus
Yeah,
Pakistan.
I'm done with
At
exciting
Ahmedabad.
games. I think I'm done with exciting games.
चलेगा पर
2019 was all the excitement I wanted. Now I want a
पर
boring,
मेरे को लग रहा है
comprehensive game.
फाइनल तक जाएगा. फाइनल भी मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है क्योंकि वर्ल्ड कप जीतना उतना आसान काम नहीं
Yeah.
है. जीतना ही
Yeah, yeah,
पड़ेगा.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
the
if
whole
there are
point.
two teams able that can really, push the opposition to the last strength, to the last
Yeah.
decision, to the
Yeah, I mean,
last minute
let's
is
just
New
give
Zealand and Australia.
a round of applause to Teju as well. I mean, they're taking just a lot of comments. Teju rightly commented in the preview that Iyer, Shammi, and Gill is what he predicted. He's got almost everybody right. Gill could have scored that 100 as well. I mean, Jaddu, yeah, did not perform. That's fine, but he did perform. Mitchell, he did say about Mitchell. He did say about Shammi. If you had played on Boomer 11, you would have earned a lot of prizes
Yeah.
today. But yeah, just continue.
Yeah, I mean, just going about it, you would have to say that. Uh, I think Trent Bolt, we did speak about it in yesterday as well when I was there, speaking about New Zealand and India, and we spoke about how Trent Bolt really struggled in the daylight, and today was just one of those days again. But boy, oh boy, I think that that power play, right? We won the power play and we won the match. It was just simple as that. We spoke about how the initial momentum is so important in such kind of matches because in a normal match, when a team takes momentum in international cricket, you know that the pressure is on the opposition. But in a semi-final of a World Cup, and the pressure just doubles because you have to be that much more I think proactive and that much more stakes. I mean that much more pride is at stake. You would say where you have to make a comeback. You have to play for the pride of your nation, and that applies for both the nations. I think even for New Zealand, obviously, another disappointment for them. But at that point in time, Rohit Sharma taking that momentum early just meant that India were in control. And from there on, it was India who were ahead of the game and New Zealand who was chasing. And even when
Yeah.
New Zealand were the most comfortable, you never thought India was in a spot of bother.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think only point where it really felt New Zealand could have possibly clawed comebacks where when Shubman Gill had to get retired out, I thought okay that could possibly stem the flow of runs because there was a good partnership which was going on. Rohit Sharma's wicket, then that Kane Williamson's catch. These were three occasions where I really felt okay this is where New Zealand could possibly claw back into the game. But then what India did was good. India did not let that happen because if you look
Yeah.
India's performances in the past IC tournaments. Those are the moments we're talking about, which will let an opposition come back. But Sunima, let's talk about today, right? I mean, your bowlers, Bumrah did not really get you wickets up front. Siraj was taken off the attack. Shami came and picked up those 2 wickets. But that particular partnership, where there was a complete lull, right? The body language was dropping. But the drinks break, you think, did a lot good for India because that Shami over, when he picked up Williamson and Latham, really helped not just Team India but also the crowd to get involved in it. Though that Glenn Phillips and Jarrell Mitchell partnership was very key, but then that particular over was what got India back into the game after a gap of close to 20 odd overs.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it was it was a very very important break. When you bat and score some 397 runs in an ODI innings, I think the only way you can lose is if your shoulders drop, and if you feel that that there is a chance that the opposition may just take the game. And I think a few shoulders were dropping from the Indian team, especially at that drinks break. I think they would have gotten some words of wisdom. And also, I feel Rohit Sharma in that middle overs period today was a bit on the defensive. He had a lot of runs to play with. I felt in the 20 to 25, 27 overs period, a period where Rohit Sharma usually brings in a Shami or brings in a Siraj for his second spell. Today, he continued with spinner for around 8 to 10 overs in that spell. They were not considering 10 runs, 15 runs per over, but they were going on considering 8 to 9 runs per over. New Zealand were happy with hitting a boundary and then following it up with singles. So I think New Zealand were batting smart. They were keeping themselves in the game. And I think India were trying to be a bit defensive because Rohit Sharma had a lot of runs to play with.
But here
And
again, that was a good ploy from India. I mean, Siraj went for runs, but India gone to defensive bowling from the 35th over. If you guys remember that, usually you get a
Yeah, yeah.
defensive bowling in the last 8 overs or 7 overs of a game. But India knew let's not leave it too late. Let's get into
Hmm.
defensive bowling and
yeah,
stem the flow of runs because bowling around the wicket, Siraj, Shami, everyone that was defensive bowling,
No,
isn't
I
it?
think what was really
see, I
spectacular
think it was
about that
defensive
was
bowling right from the. I mean, the spinners were also, apart from Kuldeep Yadav, I think Jadeja was also bowling pretty defensively.
No, I
Uh,
think they tried. That was Jadeja's bowling. You
Yeah,
felt it was defensive because
they tried, but they were getting frustrated. They were bowling.
yeah, I'm talking
I
about
mean, in
defensive
tandem.
death bowling is what I'm talking about here,
no, I
where
think
you are.
I'll be frank here, right? So Rohit Sharma today was just spectacular. I think the Indian team did a lot of homework today on New Zealand batters. Field setting for Williamson, Conway, Rachin Ravindra didn't play for long enough for you to see if it was that kind of a field set or not. But especially for Williamson and Mitchell, I think it was spectacular. And the fact that Rohit Sharma quickly realized, I think I genuinely think it was a decision made on the field. He quickly realized that Daryl Mitchell is looking to target Indian bowlers down the ground because that's where his maximum power comes, and he was waiting for those kind of deliveries when the bowlers were forced to bowl a little fuller length. So what he really did well with someone like a Siraj is to ask him to bowl round the wicket, and then he put two fielders. I think it was an extra cover and a cover fielder. You usually see a fielder at least standing on the square, but there was no fielder on the square forcing Mitchell to play in that area where he had to open his batting, and expose his stumps to Mohammad Siraj. And
Yeah.
even though they did not get the wicket of Mitchell, I think that was, even though you would say it was defensive bowling, yes, he was trying to take it away from Mitchell's point of arc. But the fact that he had kept that field open just meant that Mitchell had to play a shot you won't play on that delivery, on that full end delivery outside off stump, angling away from you. You'll never try and play a cross batted shot. You'll always try and look to play down the ground or probably towards the cover region, keeping two fielders there. The only two options he had was to either open the face of his bat, play it to the point region, or otherwise play it in the air and try and try and escape the cover fielders. So that was really good captaincy. I think Rohit Sharma's captaincy was on point today, and it was a captaincy masterclass from Rohit Sharma today.
It was.
And
It was.
I
And
think
I
the
think it looked
captaincy
like
was
he
on
knew
point,
the
but I think the
angles of the
execution
ground
from
well
Siraj
as well.
wasn't, because if you
Yeah, it
remember the
was.
field set that Rohit has set for Siraj, he was either bowling it too full and ending up bowling a full
No,
low
I
full
don't think
toss.
so. He was balling it too full or not. I just felt like
No, I think he
the
was just
room for
trying to
error
bowl
was
outside
very
of stump, a
marginal.
full length outside
Yeah,
of
that
stump,
was
and
the
he was
whole
missing
plan.
his
I just
line.
felt
Yeah, but he
Siraj
missed
was
his line.
executing to it. No,
Yeah,
that was all what he could do. You had to come off. If it doesn't come off, he was the guy who faced the brunt. If you look,
I
there
mean
were like three, four
you have to
outside
make
edge
it come
fours.
off, right? You have to bowl Yorkers. He
Yeah,
was bowling low full tosses.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's the whole point, right? It's the room for error is very marginal
Yeah,
when you're going with that
exactly. And I
particular
think today
clause.
he was
You miss and you get
not
hit.
being able to execute it properly.
Yeah, so he executed almost, if you say he executed 70% of his balls, but the 30% is where he went for a lot of runs. He went for a lot of sixers there, and he went for some streaky fours as well. He went for like 3, 4 edge fours. If you look at it on a game like this, 9 overs, 77 for 1 wicket, you'd say it's expensive, but at the same time, you'd still say he bowled well. If you have seen the game from a lot of say, he got off to a start, he tried to ball to an execution, it did not come off. Yeah, Teju's also right. Siraj was unlucky, balled decently. Rajnikant came to Wankhede in the 32nd over. Yeah, I also noticed that, and you all know what happened.
I think one of the
Yeah,
commentators did say that now that Rajnikant is here, India can't lose, and I think
I
it
think
just
today
has to.
Shami was pointing, pointing at his head with the ball, giving a tribute to Rajnikant and not to the bowling
yeah. Do
coach.
you guys notice this as well? Darren Mitchell was the strength and conditioning coach of the rugby team of New Zealand. I mean, what a
Yeah,
crazy moment. I mean, this rugby team of New Zealand is the best in the world. I mean, though they finished as the runners
absolutely.
up in this year's Rugby World Cup, but he would have definitely, he's got the mentality in him of that rugby team as well. And you saw that today. He was a fighter. I mean, we want to talk in depth about Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, and everybody
No, but
because
I think
the
India
show
batted
did
themselves
not
to a
touch.
win. I think India batted themselves to a win because batting
Yeah, we
and
will get
scoring
into that
397
point.
runs.
But
Yeah,
before we get into it, what a knock by Darren Mitchell. Possibly, if he would have, this will still be remembered as one of the best hundreds in semi-final. Regardless of what has happened, this was a fighting innings, second consecutive hundred against India. Incredible tournament for Darren Mitchell. And what do you make of him, Jaren?
Oh yeah, I mean, spectacular. This lad fought his way through. It was, I don't know how many of you have seen Game of Thrones, but there's a scene where Jon Snow is standing, and there's a huge army that is heading towards him. It's pretty much a real material as well. It was almost like that. It was like him against India, him against a billion people. To be very frank, at some of the points in that match, and I think after Mohammad Shami took those 2 wickets, he did not get a lot of the strike. It was the new batters who came in who took a lot of the strike, and that kind of threw him off that momentum as well. Something that happened to Kohli in between of Shreyas Iyer's blitz, when he was around 85, where Kohli also slightly lost that momentum when Mitch Santner was bowling well. Something very similar happened to Daryl Mitchell. But I think when an opposition has scored 400, you need at least a couple of 50s and 200s. That's just
Yeah.
written. You need it because, or if not 250s, at least 3 to 4 30s and a couple of centuries is needed. A Shreyas Iyer kind of a knock was not there in New Zealand. It was just Daryl Mitchell who fought. I think a Rachin Ravindra, Devin Conway, Glenn Phillips, these are the three people
You
probably
can
who should
say
have
a
raised their
Rohit
hands up
Sharma
today.
kind of a knock was not there because I still think Darren
Yeah,
Mitchell plays a
yeah.
Shreyas Iyer kind of a knock. But there was not a Rohit Sharma kind of a start, which they really required at that time. If they had gotten
Hmm.
off to a 10 over 80, 90, this would have been a different chase. If you look from the larger
Yeah.
context of sight, or if you look in hindsight, Virat Kohli, the king, is here. I said that we'll try our best. Now you saw what is the result. We all want Indian support and wishes for the final. जी भैया आपने तो कमाल कर दिया आज. आपने तो पूरा दुनिया आपके पैर के नीचे कर दिया और क्या ही बोले. तेंदुलकर के
Yeah.
ऊपर चले गए और उस बात भी नहीं. We'll talk about Virat Kohli in few moments from now. But who got man of the match? Shami got man of the match. The reason why Daryl Mitchell survived
Deservedly.
that was his fitness. I mean, absolutely. A lot of players cramped. Shubman Gill had to go out. It was his fitness, and if he was a strength and conditioning coach of a national rugby team, you have to be
Hmm.
some kind of a fitness freak, or you have to be at your absolute best. And you saw mentality. He never gave up. I mean, he had to
Yeah.
play that shot because at that point he had nobody at the other end. If Glenn Phillips would have been there, this would have been a tighter finish. I'm not ruling the fact that India would not have won this, but this could have been a 30, 40 or a 20 run win, But let's just talk about the moment today. I mean, we waited for this because Shami's 7 for is incredible. Virat Kohli, 50 hundreds in one day international. I mean, in front of Sunny Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, Vivian Richards, David Beckham, everybody. It was sporting royalty over there. And for him to
Yeah.
achieve it in the biggest of events, biggest of stages, we all thought, like, okay, yeah, this is a century which he's waiting for to score, but we don't know when it is going to come. We wanted it against Netherlands, against Chinnaswamy, but this was the best he could have ever achieved it. And not just that, if you look at the whole setup to it, right? If you look, he just went out there. He looked chanceless today. He was absolutely like he was playing on a different wicket altogether. There was slower balls balled at him. I don't know. It's the 400 game. It's 100 seems like a slow one here, but he was beautiful today. How do you rate this? And what do you have to tell about Virat Kohli? I mean, there's no words to really describe him, king, goat, whatever you want to say. But this is incredible that we got to witness here.
I think he understood his role really well. I think it's a role assigned to him, specifically from the team management, that he'll have to stay there throughout the end and hold one end because India do not bat really deep. And also, you have a Surya Kumar Yadav who would love to ideally come out after the 40th over and look to get going right from ball one. So you would need a Virat Kohli sort of a knock or a stable anchor at one end who can hold one end and have go at a run rate of 6.5 per over without losing too many wickets. And I think Virat Kohli just fits that role perfectly. He has done it years after years without fail. This is the 600 that he has scored in this year. In ODIs, add to that another 100 in December against Bangladesh. So after his 100 drought ended in ODIs, he has ended up scoring 700s in a span of say 11 months, and
And that's
that
what
just
we
goes
know,
on to
right?
show.
This is one
Yeah,
of his best one-day years. If you look at his
yeah,
batter,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think the
Robert
most
in
centuries that he has scored,
2018. This has been
most
incredible.
centuries
I
that he
think
has
he has
scored in a year
surpassed
was in 2017 and
28.
2018.
Yeah, 2018
17 and
was
18, 6 centuries,
six
and this time
centuries. So
around he
he's
equaled six
far that.
centuries.
This is peak Virat Kohli we're talking about at 35.
And
He
also,
is
you have to
just
remember that he
peaking.
missed one century by 5 runs against New Zealand. Then
But
there were two
now,
knocks of 80s
Darren, I
against
mean,
Sri Lanka and
yeah,
Pakistan.
I agree. I
Sorry,
agree. This could have
Australia.
been an eight to eight World Cup century, World Cup for six World Cup century, World Cup for Virat Kohli. But then, Jaren, the question for Virat Kohli today was never scored a 50 in a ICC 50 over knock. Right? He only scored a 50 to settle that, and to
Yeah.
add to that, what a moment! I mean, we've always seen him score in big matches, but this was a statement performance.
Absolutely. You don't question. I think players like Virat Kohli, they're players who conquer. The highest of the peaks in their sport. And someone like Virat Kohli, you would have to say that there are a lot of questions on him, but he's answered all of those. He's answered all the critics. I mean, a lot of guys who wanted him out of the one day team, wanted him out of the white ball format, and now actually accepting the fact that this guy is special and to make a comeback, right? I mean, you also have to probably even go back to a Sachin Tendulkar, right? He did struggle as well in this part of that, in this stage of his career. I think after 35, after 30, as a human body, right? Human body sometimes it loses its touch when it comes to certain things. Like when it comes
Yeah.
to this quick reflexes, it is not as quick when it comes to reflexes as it is before your age of 30. After 30, that becomes very tough. And as a batter's main role, a main weapon against a fast bowler or a spinner is his reflexes. And after 30, that starts to really fade away. And we saw Sachin as well struggle, someone who had probably the most immaculate technique that the game has ever seen. So it's understandable that Kohli did go down for a little bit of a period. I think another real big aspect was the fact that during the pandemic there was no crowd, and if there's no crowd, Virat, this is I don't know how many of you have seen that interview where he's given to
Yeah,
Star Sports, right,
Sachin.
about that
Yeah, that was a
that
beautiful one.
yeah, it was
Diwali,
beautiful. So he talks about how the energy of the crowd really brings out the energy in him. I think that's
yeah.
what he really missed during the pandemic years.
If you
Post
look,
the
the
pandemic,
pandemic
he's back.
phases when he was an absolute disarray as a batter.
Yeah,
He never
yeah,
kept,
yeah.
he never scored runs. It just looked like he did not enjoy cricket at one point, and you can say
Exactly.
that affected him mentally. He kept saying that how that mental block was a big factor for him. I mean, we need to do a full episode on Virat Kohli, the batter, because we often tend to not understand the magnitude of it. Maybe tomorrow morning when we wake up, or 4 years down the line when we look back, no, this is a century for the ages, man. You're gonna talk about this hitting 30 years down the line. Yeah, there was in Virat ka century. It's like those Kapil Dev's 175s and Yashpal Sharma's knocks in semi-final of
Yeah,
1983 and whatnot. So it's that kind of things what we're talking about. This is for the ages. You talk about Inzamam, but then when we talk about that, we have to talk about Rohit Sharma's that knock. It gets underappreciated. I feel that 47 was worth its weight of 100. Not gonna lie, that was
yeah, yeah.
what set the tone today. Also, in a captaincy appreciation post, already you spoke about captaincy, but just love the fielder placements of Rohit Sharma. When Bumrah was bowling straight lines, he had Jadeja at long on. When Kuldeep was bowling, he had Jadeja at square leg. He knew where the ball was high hot spots were, and he kept a Jadeja at a hot spot. And both of those occasions, you saw Jadeja deliver in a couple of those occasions, especially in terms of scoring, saving those boundaries. But yeah, man, Rohit Sharma's 47, Sandeepani, it is immaculate. It's just wonderful that this guy keeps doing this time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the start that he's providing to the team is similar to what Virendra Sehwag used to do in the 2011 World Cup. And I think he understands his role. He knows that if he can utilize the power play, his job is done. Anything that he gets after that is a bonus for Team India. And this is the third time or the fourth time in a row where we have seen India really get up to a flyer in the power plays, scoring well in excess of 70, 75, 80 runs at the end of 10 overs. And I think that first 10 overs where India scored around 80 runs, even though the last Rohit Sharma, similar like in the game against South Africa, but the stage was set. They were set to go on and score well in excess of 300. It was certain that they were going to score 300 odd runs because at Wankhede batting first, we have seen batters have struggled for the first 10 to 15 overs. And when you started off in such a way, when you utilized that 10 overs in such a way that you had lost just the one wicket and scored 84 runs, enhancing your power play run rate further, I think it was written on the walls. And I think Rohit Sharma, exactly those 47 runs, is probably as relevant and as equivalent. I mean, I'll rate it as highly as a Virat Kohli century
Yeah,
or
yeah.
even
I think
just
it should get
I
the
think
credit
Shubman
it
Gill 80
deserves
runs.
because
And
we talk
also, I
about
think
Chanakya
Shubman Gill understood
Surya's
his role
quick
perfectly.
fire
I think
knocks. Yeah,
yeah, I think with Shreyas Iyer scoring that quick fire 100 century and Kohli getting on to his 50th century, a lot of people are undermining Shubman Gill, who was
Shubman Gill. Yeah,
retired. But then again, he also scored 80 runs of just 66 deliveries. And I think
yeah,
at that stage, when Rohit Sharma got out, he was probably going on at a strike rate of 90 or 90. Once Rohit Sharma got out, he allowed Kohli to settle down. Kohli was
yeah,
at 27, 26 of 36, 37 deliveries. In the meantime, Shubman Gill did not let the run rate get below 7 runs per over. He continuously scored at 6 runs, 7 runs per over. He was going after trying to hit one or two boundaries every over. And it was not that he was playing out a particular bowler. He even went after
yeah.
Mitchell Santner. And when you have a team that hasn't lost too many wickets and they are going after your two prime bowlers, I think
Yeah.
the onus or the pressure goes on to all the bowlers. And I think the
I agree.
combination, you talk about the main duo, the opening duo of New Zealand, both of them have gone on to consider 185 runs in their 20 overs, which is a
Absolutely.
lot.
I agree. I agree with you on that. Virat Kohli sacking as a one-day captain was a blessing in disguise. Virat Kohli says Sachin Tendulkar is my idol. I think Sachin Paji is a legend. I am just trying to play like him. I don't want to be like him. He's my everything. He's everything to our Indian cricket. Thanks, Virat, for that. I mean, you just reiterated what you've said today earlier on in the mid game as well. But Jaren, one thing I really enjoyed today, it's something which we see with Rohit Sharma as well. At no point did he look worried. There was this calmness about him that मेरे को ये पता है, मेरे को पता है क्या करना है, वांकेट है तो मेरा ground है. I've been here, done it in these
I think
situations
that is
time
the
and time
confidence
again.
of having 398 runs to defend.
No, not just that. I'd say a lot of captains would have been in pressure with that partnership, but he just knew he had a Bumrah, up his sleeve, and Bumrah has done that time and time again in these occasions.
Yeah, I think that's the one point that I'll like to raise as well. I think when the Shami dropped that catch, I did see Rohit Sharma get a little, a little perturbed. But I think that drinks break, right? I think that's where the game changed, because one thing that I saw right during the drinks break is that, usually during drinks break there is some chatter there, but you saw a complete circle formed, and it was a quadrant which was formed. Rohit Sharma was speaking his heart out, and I think you saw that right after that drinks break, things did change for India. India did come back like nothing before had mattered. And I'll agree with Sandipani to an extent that 398 being the target is also something that gave Rohit Sharma that confidence. I mean, who wouldn't be confident in 398? It's never been chased down. I know Pakistan did win when New Zealand scored about 400 runs, but even then they only did end up scoring 200 because of the Duckworth-Lewis method. So 400 plus has never been chased in a. I mean, 398, 390 plus has never been chased in a World Cup match, let alone a semi-final. So that pressure was obviously there on them. But I think the drinks break, you saw that calmness really shift. I think the thing about Rohit Sharma is maybe somewhere in between Kohli and Dhoni. Dhoni wouldn't really show his emotions on the field. But with Rohit Sharma, he is still someone who expresses his agony, his angst. But at the same time, he doesn't let it get to his head. He still makes those calm decisions. And I'll be frank, I think today was the best captaincy stint I've seen from Rohit Sharma. I mean, the bowling changes. I'll give you one very good example, right? Mohammad Shami just bowled a brilliant spell, got a couple of wickets, a few dot balls had been bowled. Then Mohammad Siraj comes in, gets smashed a bit by Glenn Phillips. And then guess who does Rohit Sharma bring in? Kuldeep Yadav. I don't think a lot of captains would have brought in a Kuldeep Yadav in 41st, 42nd over.
Yeah.
When he Mohammad
But I think
Siraj,
that has been the template for
But
the
you think
Indian
that
team.
was, just talk add to that as well. Kuldeep Yadav, that 2 overs, right, which he just
Yeah.
gave away 8 runs, picked up a wicket at that juncture of the game where you had, okay, Glenn Phillips had just gotten out. Okay, first Glenn Phillips was there. Then by the time he came to ball, his second over, Glenn Phillips had gotten out. But that 1-2 overs added a lot of pressure on New Zealand.
I think that
where
was
they
the
had to
first
attack
over
the
where he
side.
considered just 2 runs after coming back. That
I
actually
think
put on a lot of pressure because they already had a required rate of 12.43. And when he just considered 2 runs, they needed 110 runs of 8 overs. And when Bumrah came into ball, I think it was the time for both Glenn Phillips and Daryl Mitchell to go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'll
exactly
just
that
add
is
to
how.
what you said, Subramani. Yeah. There are 2 points to that as well. Right now, I just felt like at that point in time, New Zealand were getting comfortable facing pace, especially someone like a Mohammad Siraj. They were just getting used to, as a batter, you get used to that rhythm of a fast bowler bowling at you after some time. And when Kuldeep Yadav came in, right now, one very good thing that Kuldeep Yadav did was he slowed his balls down. He was bowling before he was bowling at 92 kilometers per hour in the middle overs. But in that 2 overs, he bowled it a lot slower because he knew New Zealand batters are going after him. But he also felt that the footwork of the New Zealand batters were disrupted because they were
Yeah.
facing spin. For the last 6-7 overs, Bumrah, Shami, Siraj had bowled. They had gotten used to it. But when Kuldeep Yadav came in, you suddenly felt them being very tentative with spin, especially a Glenn Phillips. And I think that threw on the non-strikers end, Daryl Mitchell's completely his momentum was thrown away because Glenn Phillips was not able to rotate strike. Glenn Phillips himself was not able to get boundaries anymore, so he got stuck. And I think that was a captaincy genius from Rohit Sharma.
No, but I think that has been the template for this Indian team in the death overs. They have used Kuldeep Yadav. This was
I mean, to be very
not the
honest,
first
this was the
time.
first time you had death overs where you were tested in the entire tournament. That's one
Yeah.
area where you
I
had
mean,
tested.
they bowled first in the first 5 games where they were tested apart from the
Yeah,
2
but
games when they tested
this
properly.
was where you were defending. You are it's a knockout, and this couldn't have gotten any more spicier, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think they have used. I think Kuldeep Yadav, if you just go back and see all the games, whenever India has played till the 50th over, they have always held back 2 overs from Kuldeep Yadav at the least. When he comes in at the 41st or 42nd over, he did that in the last time the two teams met previously in the World Cup as well, where he came
Yeah.
back to pick up Glenn Phillips once again. So I think the matchup between Glenn Phillips versus Kuldeep Yadav was going to be a issue for New Zealand all the time. And when they needed 113 runs of 9 overs, the moment when Kuldeep Yadav came to ball after Siraj considered 20 runs in that over, I think it was that point where that over from Kuldeep Yadav really changed it. But then again, I mean, once the pressure was built from Kuldeep Yadav, 2 runs of that over, and Bumrah having 3 overs at the back end, there was not really any chance that you could give a New Zealand side. And also, the pressure got to them. They lost quite a few wickets trying to accelerate towards the end. I accept it was brilliant captaincy from Rohit Sharma, but I think by now he understands what his players' potentials are, and I think he knows how to rotate them perfectly. So I think it was a job well done. Nothing extraordinary about the bowling changes. I felt it was logical because 41st over, Siraj considered 20 runs. He had 2 overs left, so he thought that we'll keep it for the end, and then we'll use Shami, Bumrah, and Kuldeep Yadav in the meantime, and increase the required rate to such an extent that Siraj will not have the pressure of defending 15 runs of the last 2 overs or 30 runs of the last 3 overs.
Absolutely. I think
I think
we
that was
spoke
the
in
job
depth
well done.
about that particular facet as well about Rohit Sharma. But one facet with which Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid, and the management should be given credit, is for the middle order what we have in our disposal today,
Yeah.
right? Now, before the World Cup, we sat here, we were very unsure of what the middle order is going to be, and let's be honest, we all did question. We all are unsure of what Shreyas Iyer's fitness was going to be, what KL Rahul's fitness was going to be, and it's only fair that it just looked like we prudent man will obviously question what are they going to come out of injury. They're not superheroes to come out and start scoring runs just like that. Considering
Turns
the
out,
fact how
turns out
they
they were.
were before the injury. Yeah.
Turns out they were
Exactly.
superheroes.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I think
So
I
what a
have
comeback.
maintained this. Shreyas Iyer has always been a superhero when India gets off to a start. You
no,
won't get
I
get
mean,
up number 4
to be
India
very
are at
honest,
150 for
today
For a
it's
KKR
not about
supporter, you
start or
criticize
whatever,
Shreyas Iyer a lot.
but
I,
mentality
I
of
never
players,
criticize
right?
Shreyas Iyer. That guy, this guy criticizes Shreyas Iyer a lot. I am always for Shreyas Iyer.
Okay.
I think he's pointing fingers at you, even.
I have always maintained Shreyas Iyer is a mentality monster. I've always said that he still has an issue with
I
stop ball.
think after the first 4 games, I think it was somebody from this panel who was wanting his head when Hardik Pandya came back.
Yeah, I still would stick to the very fact that if Hardik Pandya was there in this team, I
And
would
if
have
you
had Hardik
go
Pandya.
back to my lives, I always have this KKR connection with Shreyas Iyer. I have always supported him. I have always had a soft corner for him. Even if you
इसको
see
नहीं
in
भाई.
you go back to the previews of the Asia Cup, if you just
If you
rewind
go
and go
back,
back to the previews of
if
the
you go
Asia Cup,
back to
I
that
had always
15
said,
run knock which he played against Pakistan, I said that was a very good knock because of his mentality. What he showed. I was very upset at Shreyas Iyer's mode of dismissal. I still am. I still think I don't know if he's convincing me that he's going to go score runs in South Africa
that is a
as a
legit
test
point.
player.
That is a legit point. I think I agree to the
Yeah.
point that this is a criticism that I think even Shreyas Iyer will agree. That if
But
India loses
he's
two
not
early wickets,
agreeing. उसने तो
He
press
won't
conference में
agree.
आके बोल दिया. What problem do I have with short balls? Have you seen
then
my
you just,
shots
He's not,
against
he's not
in the
agreeing.
World Cup?
He
What
but
are you
उसके
fired a
talking
बाद
about?
उसने
journalist.
सेंचुरी भी किया है तो nobody can now go and say
You
कि
can't
आप
talk
short ball क्यों नहीं
back-to-back
खेलते.
centuries, and not just that, a century
Centuries
in
of
World
quick
Cup
time. Centuries
semi-final.
in quick time.
I mean, that guy has written history, guys, and you're gonna remember this guy for a long time. But credit to management even there. But yeah, Shinwari, I thought I'll not talk about this team and the player today. But yeah, as you brought in, yes, as the game was going on, Babar Azam, the Bobby Badshah of Pakistan cricket, has stepped down as Pakistan skipper. Shan Masood is appointed as Test captain. Shaheen Afridi as T20 captain, and Mohammad Hafiz is director of cricket Pakistan, and coaching staff is sacked. So that's the update I'll give you there. That's it.
It's interesting though, that if you have a strong presence in social media and you question India's pitches, you can become the director of Pakistan. That's all I'll say on that.
Uh,
Shaheen Shafridi is a very good choice for T20 team captaincy. I think
we're not going there, Jaren. We'll have it on another day. Let's just not even.
Yeah, I think today we should focus on India's
We should
success.
not
And I
focus
think
on that.
I'll
I mean,
agree. I'll agree.
I
Yeah.
think
I think we
we
have had
spent
I,
way
eight
I,
too
I
hours
was
much
of
time
excited
on
to
drama.
the rabbit
Pakistan
hole.
cricket. We spent way too much time on Pakistan cricket.
Exactly, and
I
I
think
think today we had
Absolutely,
8 hours
yeah.
of solid
Yeah.
content.
I
I mean,
apologize, guys.
Mohammad Shami bowled the best bowling figures for an Indian. Virat Kohli went on to break Sachin Tendulkar's record to score 50th
Yeah, let's
ODI
just talk
centuries.
about that one figure which Stuart Binney held proudly, right? All these years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, since
I think
last
now
eight
Stuart
years,
Bindy's
he
relevance
has
from
that.
cricket is gone.
Yeah, I mean, that's one figure which he had. But let's talk about Mohammad Shami. If India goes on to win the World Cup, is he a man of the tournament? Like, undoubtedly. Virat
Yeah,
Kohli's 711 runs
absolutely,
is just so good. I
absolutely.
mean, it's thing of dreams, right?
Yeah.
But Mohammad Shami's performance with the ball is man of the tournament stuff right there, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now he after today he's become the highest wicket taker in a single edition of World Cup for India. He's broken Zahir Khan's records. I think the way Virat is gunning for Sachin's records, Shami has been gunning for Zahir Khan's records this World Cup. That's just been the story. But I think it has to be Mohammad Shami. And I'm not saying Virat Kohli has not done anything or he
Yeah,
doesn't deserve it. If not for Shami, my next choice would be Kohli. But the moment that he's gotten those 5 wickets
it's a
for you, right?
55-45 with Shami on the lead because of what he's done.
Absolutely, yeah, I'll agree. And especially today's
See,
match, I think that just adds to that credence to make him the man of the tournament. I think
Yeah,
I'll
he
have an
absolutely
unpopular
deserves.
opinion. If I feel if India goes on to win the World Cup, then I feel you can even give the man of the tournament to even Rohit Sharma because
yeah. I
Yeah,
was also
captaincy
thinking
and the
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
performance.
yeah.
Rohit Sharma. I mean, we have
Absolutely.
4 contenders if India goes on to win. Because last year a losing captain got man of the tournament. That was
Yeah,
Kane Williamson who got man of the tournament,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
surprisingly. There's Adam Zampa who's gunning for this as well. A very similar man of the tournament position. He's done
But I think Zampa
incredibly
has
well.
had 9 games to pick up 22 wickets. Shami has picked 23 in 7.
Oh, it's been outstanding, man. I mean, Shami
oh,
is thing of dreams. I mean, I think he's
You
got
know, you
next
know
game in
when.
Ahmedabad. I'm
Yeah,
so happy that he's going to Ahmedabad to play that final. Shami in Ahmedabad is another
yeah.
beast altogether. Shami,
You
Gill,
know
I
you
think
they have
have done
practiced.
something great when Virat
yeah,
Kohli goes on to have a season record-breaking season, broke Sachin Tendulkar's maximum most runs in a single edition of the World Cup as well. Virat Kohli scored 700 runs, and yet we are talking about Mohammad Shami being a
I'm so
contender for
happy
the
that
man of
we
the
are talking
tournament.
about it. I
Yeah,
really thought we'd be having the conversation of Virat Kohli, but he deserves all the credit in the world. But I'm
yeah.
so
I
happy that
think
we're talking
today,
Mohammad
I
Shami.
No,
think
and
today even Shreyas Iyer deserves more credit than Virat Kohli for that 105
yeah,
of
Yeah,
century.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
I think
I mean,
if you
today
have
it
to
was a
take
team
3 points
performance.
out, yeah, if you have to take 3 points out where India won the not the World Cup, I'm jumping the gun here. Where India won the semi-final is Rohit Sharma's 47, Shreyas Iyer's blitzkrieg at the end, towards the end, pushing India to 397, and then Mohammad Shami's 5 for. I think these are the three things that you do not find from the New Zealand. There was no New Zealand bowler that really troubled the Indian batters today. They got wickets, but they did not create that impact, which would have pushed India down. There was no batter from New Zealand who you would say scored at a strike rate of Shreyas Iyer in the last few overs, right? The last few overs was very difficult to bat. If you remember, Mitch Sanders was able to turn the ball square. The ball was stopping on the batters. For Shreyas Iyer to play that kind of a knock to smash 106 meters six was incredible. And then Rohit Sharma in the power play, where you saw New Zealand go score 46, we scored 80 plus. So I think those were the
Yeah.
three aspects where we just swept the match. And if India were dominant, it's because of those three moments.
But if
Exactly.
you look at from a tournament perspective as well, I mean,
Yeah.
no disrespect to Shardul Thakur, but what India was doing by having Mohammad Shami on the bench, even Asia Cup, that was ridiculous. And we kept sitting here and talking about,
That is
it's
one
not about
KKR
the
player that
20
even
added
I can't
runs.
defend.
Yeah, nobody can defend him. And apparently
No, I
Shardul
mean,
Thakur is getting an RCB exchange for Harshal Patel. I don't want to hear that even more. That's the worst. And
I think it was
this
good for
guy,
both their
don't
careers.
laugh because you're getting
Shardul
Harshal
Thakur.
Patel. He's the same guy who used to sit there and talk about him as fast off spinner. So ऐसा हंस रहे ऐसा बोल रहे कि इसको
No,
कोई
no,
No,
no. I
but
think
but
so
but
there are two
fast
stadiums.
yeah, but fast off spinners have had success at Eden Gardens.
shut the
Yeah,
yeah
yeah,
shut
yeah.
up
That was one of your point as
shut
well.
up
Yeah.
कुछ
I'll
मत
tell you
बोल
what,
ठीक है
even looking at the KKR team, right? I know we're speaking about
we're not
IPL
going
way too
there
far.
we're not going there we're not going there please
See,
we're
you
We'll
not
took
talk
us
about
there. Come on.
we'll only talk about KKR captain today. Shreyas
no no
Iyer,
no 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 no
unbelievable
no no
knock,
we're
and I think
not
we've had
touching
four.
IPL I told you we're not touching
No,
IPL
we are not doing
Pakistan
IPL. I'm
cricket
talking
or
about Shreyas
anywhere
Iyer's contribution over the
Even,
yeah
last 4 games as
even
well.
you can't keep taking the turn and not expect us to join you
No,
along on the
मैं
ride.
बस बोल
Okay.
रहा हूँ you just mentioned Shardul
Come
Thakur I just had to
on.
put it in a I'm not going in depth I hope it's just rumors I just read it it's the worst nightmare I woke up to a couple of days ago and I was like क्या पढ़ रहा हूँ मैं मतलब कुछ भी चल रहा है क्या but but yeah let's just be honest would you have been so confident of your bowling attack if there was Shardul Thakur in your team? Just want to ask you this
No.
question.
No, I think
I
we
mean,
have maintained it that Shardul Thakur has been extremely lucky with his
No, no, let's
performances
not say
in
lucky.
ODI cricket.
He's worked hard for it. But Shardul Thakur
No,
is not
come
effective
on.
as
Okay,
Shami. Let's
okay.
just say that word.
Will you say Virat Kohli wasn't lucky getting that wicket of Scott Edwards in the last game?
No, he wasn't. Beautiful overs
That,
are
that
pressure
was
built
pure.
किया.
That was pure class from Kohli, right?
भाई साहब कुंबले ऐसा विकेट लेते हैं बहुत मजा आता है. विराट कोहली लेते हैं तो लकी होता है.
शार्दुल ठाकुर
no,
वैसा ही
I
विकेट लेता है ब्रो.
ask,
शार्दुल
ask
ठाकुर
any
takes only
bowler
those sort of
able,
wickets.
ask any bowler, they'll not say that this was my best ball ever that got me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
This is
I
the
think
Shardul Thakur
Shardul Thakur's
ऐसा भी
wickets
wickets नहीं
come like
लेता.
that only down the leg
Shardul
side.
Thakur is not as effective as Shamik. I'm not disrespecting him. We had him in the team because he could give you 20 runs. But we always said that a 20 added runs, that also with a question mark, is always better than defending extra 50. We can defend a 50
See, I
or a
think
70
this
with
proverb
Shamik
has
in the team.
gone on for a long time that I think all rounders or say a batter,
It's a
a
myth.
bowler who can bat will win
Yeah.
you a game, but a proper bowler
Do you
will win
think
you tournaments.
even this team, if there was Hardik Pandya, I would have still gone with the same combination. That Hardik instead of Surya, and then the same team. Because
Yeah.
Hardik's injury, if you look, is a blessing in disguise. We would have never made this change if not for Hardik falling down in Pune.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
And also, I think a lot of players wouldn't have had a couple of centuries as well. Virat Kohli against
Yeah.
Bangladesh, I think that century wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Then KL Rahul century wasn't possible.
Yeah, I'm
some of
serious.
Shreyas Iyer's century wasn't possible. Yeah.
I can't
being
believe
very
we're sitting
serious.
here and hating on one of the best all-rounders India's produced after Kapil Dev. Come on, guys.
Guys, I'm not even hating on Hardik Pandya, but I'm just saying that if I would have wanted Hardik
You
Pandya
were
to come back,
basically
but
saying
that
that Hardik
injury,
Pandya's
injury
greatest.
only meant that opened India's eyes. Then if Hardik Pandya would have come back, Shami would have still remained in the team. Surya would have
Huh.
had to make it.
That's a better way to put it because I mean it just seemed like you
That's
guys
the
were
better
saying-
way to put it, and I think Abel
Yeah.
has improved from his previous team. I think
No,
previously he
I
said
still say-
Surya Kumar.
I still said if
Come on,
Shreyas
Abel,
Iyer
come
starts
on.
scoring runs and turning wickets, you have to have Shreyas Iyer in grounds where the ball turns. Now in Mumbai,
Exactly.
even I said after the
Guys,
England
just
game,
go
if you
back-
go back to that live,
go back to
if
the
you go back to
preview,
that
go
live,
back to-
we just said, what did I say? You will have to give 3 matches to Shreyas. If he doesn't perform there, then you
Yeah.
take a call for it.
Fair enough, fair enough. And I
you
think
just triggered a law graduate. You don't do that. Abel
But
would
yeah,
have
if you
started
remember, I said
quoting.
3 matches है उसके पास, and he performed in all 3 matches, right? He scored a 80.
he has performed in the
right?
last 4 matches, starting
matches,
from the
yeah.
game against Sri Lanka. 82 against
What
Sri
is it scored?
Lanka,
80 to 70, 80, 70, 100, 100. Yeah, that's
82, 77, 127 not out, and today I think 103,
right. Yeah, beautiful. I
107.
mean, and that, in that particular point, he
10,
also got a
11.
shave done. It's November, but he got a shave done. He got a shave done, and that's the
And
reason
I think
why.
that changed it. I think that there was something wrong with the beard because
If you are
after the shave,
Shreyas Iyer's company, I think he's sponsored by Gillette, if I'm not wrong. What a move!
let's not go
man.
there.
What a
Abel, let's
marketing
not go
move!
there.
I mean, what a marketing move! I mean, if you want to make an ad campaign around that, crazy. That's what ad campaigns are made of. If you're a marketing agent over there, sitting there, or an ad
But
campaign.
what do you think? What do you think of say KL Rahul coming in at number 4 ahead of a Shubman Gill, depriving Gill of
I
another
thought
century?
KL Rahul was still fine. So sending Surya was kind of like I didn't understand. But I also think KL Rahul was not a bad option. I still would have had Surya ahead of a KL Rahul.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
I think that makes
understand.
sense. But I think
KL
Gill was
KL did
itching to go out
contribute,
there.
right? No, I think KL
I
did
still think
contribute.
Surya would have given us that extra 10 runs, maybe if he would have come early.
But I
Yeah,
feel
yeah, I
KL
think-
Rahul played a great cameo. I think 31, 32.
Yeah, he also played a great
39 of
cameo.
20.
You
Instead
never
of
know, you never know.
195.
Whatever
Exactly
happened,
what
happened
he
for
did.
good. And
Yeah.
whatever Surya could do, he could come and do what Tong in the last over. That's all he could do. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
best you could do at that point. Ultimately, I feel everybody contributed in this game. Surya
Yeah.
with that fielding, Jadeja with on the field as well. He was
Yeah.
electric today. I mean, with the ball, 63 runs in a 10-over game where, you could have afforded to go for in 79. 80 is what he should not have gone for because that's what in an 8-run over chase. He balled 63 in 10 overs, 6.3. That's decent. I mean, everybody contributed.
And
today.
also, I think the
They were
start that
outstanding.
Bumrah had, I think Bumrah started off poorly. He was all
Very
over
bad,
the place.
yeah.
We hadn't
Yeah.
seen this sort of a start from Bumrah in a
I think
long
that-
time.
I also felt like India were slightly nervous, when they started off. I just felt that
Bowlers
they
were,
were nerves there.
batters
Yeah,
were
Yeah.
more
yeah, yeah,
composed.
yeah.
And I think as the
It
game
was
went along, India
surprising.
got
I think
nervous again.
they were a bit complacent. You would say nervous, but I feel a bit
I think
complacent.
they were nervous. They
Complacent.
just genuinely were because you
I
saw
think it was
misfields
nervous.
from
It was nervous.
Ravindra
The
Jadeja,
partnership felt.
Bumrah.
You could feel
Yeah,
the nerves. I bet Indian team would have
yeah.
felt it as well
Obviously,
because you
obviously.
knew, man. I mean, this was
And
like
at one point after the 31st over, I think we all started praying because everybody saw sudden glimpses
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
the 2016 T20 semi-finals.
Yeah, that was it. Was like that script was followed very much on that track, but you didn't know it. If India would have lost this match, trust me, India was not going to win another ICC tournament ever. Trust me, because this would have haunted generations, not just that
Yeah.
team, because
But
you did everything right.
I also feel the nerves really got to them. That is something India will really have to work on in the finals,
Hmm.
especially not to allow the
But I
opposition
think
to have this sort of a
winning it
passage
now
of
would
play.
have really helped them because there's not a bad team to play knockouts, right? This
Exactly.
hurdle is what really wanted India to cross. Because
See,
last two World Cups,
at the start of today we spoke about where India really go wrong in the knockouts is they have this 30 to 30 minutes to 1 hour passage of play where they are completely they are clueless about what to do, and suddenly after 30 minutes or 1 hour when they try to get back into the game is already done. Today
No, I
we could
think
see that
Samani,
you had that.
yeah.
You
yeah,
had
That's
that.
also
it
where I
was that
spoke
passage
about the
of
drinks
play.
break. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's also where I spoke about the
You
drinks
had
break, where
the.
the team came together in a
Yeah, yeah.
quadrant. Rohit Sharma spoke a
I
lot
mean, that's
about
a
it, and then
good
I think he
part
brought the team
about
together.
having a 30-minute bat time on the field and with the bat. Because with the bat, you can't do
Hmm.
anything much. You're gone, gone, gone. But with on
Yeah.
the field, you can still come back. That's the biggest factor about having a
Hmm.
bad 30-minute bowling session. You still can come back. And that's what India did today. You had a bad phase, yes. You're playing a World Cup semi-final. There are no pushovers. And New Zealand has always haunted us. And once again, they were all in for haunting us. I mean, I can't believe how this team comes as a monkey in the back time and time again, time and time again. Kane Williamson is there, Daryl Mitchell is there. This team will
I
somehow
mean,
manage to come haunt us.
New Zealand has always been that team. I think throughout history, they've always been that team that you can't beat easily, even on their worst day. There's some of the other player does stand up. I'm not. They still haven't crossed to a point in time whether they're a superpower. Right? I mean, they are. They're very consistent in ICC tournaments, but you never rate them in any tournament. They always punch above their weight, right?
yeah.
They are a bunch of lads with a lot of character, and you'll never see them lay their weapons down or roll over. I think that's why 2015 final was such a surprise to me that it went out so easily for Australia. But just if you remove that, even 2011, I remember, was not an easy game for Sri Lanka. New Zealand did fight back for a large period of that match. I think
Yeah, but
2019 as well came very close.
I also feel that they back their youngsters a lot, something that you won't see from
Yeah.
some of the larger boards. Because if you talk about
Hmm.
today's selection as well, Jimmy Nisham was fit. He was there fielding for New Zealand. So, but he still did not play. They went ahead with a Mark Chapman ahead of a Jimmy Nisham. So they
Yeah.
trusted a Chapman even after some of his failures previously in the tournament. They trusted him to come out there and do the job for them. That is the trust
Yeah.
that most of the other boards won't show you, and they'll go with experience. And even I would have gone with experience, to be honest. I felt if Jimmy Nasham was fit, he was the player to play instead of a Mark Chapman today.
But yeah, guys, as you all come back, when you wake up tomorrow, the job is not done. You have one travel day, one rest day,
Let's
one
forget
practice
about
day,
tomorrow. I
and
think let's forget
I
about
mean, it's
tomorrow.
not. It's not. I
Today,
mean, at the end of the day, it's okay. You enjoy tonight,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you get back.
exactly.
Indian
I'm
team
talking
know
about
it very
tonight's
well.
dream.
The job is 70% done. You have thirty
Yeah,
percent
job is
left.
70% done, but tonight I think the two shots that I'll dream about tonight is the one that Rohit Sharma played over covers and the flick of Tim Southee that Kohli played when he was around some 60s. He played that
Hmm.
flick to start the
That was a
momentum.
good one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
those two shots I'll be dreaming of
But
tonight.
that was a good question. Coming on tomorrow, who will win according to you all, and who would you want to face in the final?
South Africa, not Australia, guys. Not Australia.
But
Those
I have a
lads
feeling
know
that
how
South
to
Africa are
play,
winning
right?
tomorrow. South Africa are winning tomorrow.
So I was watching this podcast where Brad Hatton was talking to Mitch Stark, and they're speaking about how South Africa's semi-final record is something they'd like to bring out.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that.
that is
They
the
don't want
one
to be
thing, right?
reminded of that.
It's legacy, and if you look at legacy, Australia is on top, and these set of lads have done it. Forget all their legacy, forget their
Trust me,
past,
there's a World
forget
Cup of comebacks
2007,
and
11.
revenges. Trust me, there's a World Cup of
But South
comebacks
Africa
and
has
revenges.
choked. South Africa has
But
choked long
I
enough.
I
still
don't think
think
South
that
Africa
there's
will
one way.
choke.
South Africa win the toss, bat first in Eden Gardens.
Yeah.
Put Australia to
Yeah.
No,
bat
I
first.
think I
Give
think
Australia
honestly,
advantage.
whichever team bats first tomorrow will go to win, because we have seen at Eden Gardens that the pitch has supported players, or the team that is batting first. If you can put runs on the board, and both the team have enough ammunition to sort of really score big. But the thing with Australia is you do not really know whether they can go ahead and chase some down as well, because in the last two games that they have played, they have chased down 292 when Maxwell scored 201, an unbeaten 201. And in the last game, they chased down 307 against
But this
Bangladesh,
is no
and
small
Mitchell Marsh scored
opposition, man.
177.
This
Yeah.
is South Africa bowling middle. I know there'll be pressure and whatnot, but I think this is the better suited South Africa team historically to face an Australian team. And
Yeah, yeah.
this is not the best of Australian
I
team
mean, there are a
to
few
face an
holes in the Australian team as well, right? The middle order is still not turned up. That Afghanistan game was saved only because
yeah,
of
yeah,
Maxwell and that
yeah,
miracle. There are holes there. If you look at on the other side of it, South Africa are probably favorites if you look at the performance in the World Cup. But then it's legacy, right? It's my point, right? Same thing that happened with Afghanistan as well. Why did they lose to Bangladesh but still end up winning against a Pakistan after that England match? Because that monkey is off your back. And for South Africa, this is the best opportunity to get the monkey off their back. But can they? That's the question. I think South
No,
Africa is
that's
I
gonna.
feel tomorrow South Africa is really going to turn up, and it is going to they
Yeah,
are going
I
to
mean,
go to
it's
their
very much
first
possible, Sunny.
World Cup
I think
final.
it's. But the fact
I
of the
have a
matter
feeling
is,
as
if
well.
it is South
I
Africa,
have very strong feeling on that. A lot of people are,
And
oh, we're ready to face Australia in the final.
yeah,
Have you just
no,
forgotten that there's a South African team? I mean,
and also this
which is
South African
writing
team
them
has
off
beaten
like this.
Australia in the group stage as well by 100 runs
Yeah.
convincingly.
I mean, even with the
hmm,
Australian camp, I know they're so confident, they're so cocky about themselves, but that confidence is not so good sometimes. I understand.
yeah,
Okay, great, whatever you've done, and I think South African team will really enjoy that. It's
No,
okay
but
to be a dark horse
there is
sometimes
a
in these
difference.
finals.
There is a difference between this South African and Australian team. I think the major difference is that Australia have really focused on individual brilliance in this tournament. They
hmm,
have depended on a Maxwell to do something out
yeah,
of the ordinary. They have depended on a Mitchell Marsh, on a David Warner to do something out of the blue. But South
Yeah,
Africa have been really consistent. Apart from Temba Bavuma, they're only, the player that is lacking behind. The other six batters have really come to the fore. Probably a David
yeah,
Miller hasn't really come to true to his own potential, but I feel
yeah,
he is one of those players to look out for in a knockout games. Knockout games,
yeah. I mean,
players
and
out of
yeah.
David Miller.
I mean, one
yeah. I
advantage
think
for South Africa is that none of these players have been part of a. I think except for Quinton de Kock, and Quinton de Kock is the only one, or a David. I think Quinton de Kock
David
is the only
Miller.
one in the 2015 one, where they had a heartbreak.
Miller was also
2019,
there.
Miller was not there in 2015, was he? Was he there?
He was there in the
yeah,
squad, I
he
guess.
was there in 2015. Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
think
yes.
those are the only two lads who are actually in that squad who had that heartbreak. And 2019 obviously was an absolute disaster class, and no one rated South Africa well as well in that World Cup. No one expected them to
Yeah,
make it into the semis, and rightfully so. So I think that 2015 and everything else, that's one advantage this team has, is that most of their players are not really burdened by that baggage, which is a good thing,
yeah, yeah, that's true.
including the
That's true.
captain, right? So
Absolutely.
I think that's a good factor for them. But then on the other hand, you have an Australian team which knows how to win this World Cup. There are
Yeah,
there are players in this team which has won the World Cup before, and that is also a huge factor.
yeah. They just won the T20 World Cup, and they've also
Yeah,
won the One Day World Cup not so far long ago. And that's about for us from tonight. We'll be joining you tomorrow at 1:30. Uh, so South Africa, Australia. We'll talk about that in depth. What a good night we've all had. Enjoy it. Wake up tomorrow, and we're not. You're still there. We can definitely have a
Yeah, I mean,
party on
India had a 10
19th.
on 10 performance to make it 10 out of 10 in this World Cup.
Yeah.
nah,
So
it's not 10 on 10,
let's
but
just get that
nice.
11 on 10, guys. 11 on 11. Let's just get that. Let's just get that 11 on 11. Also, watching David Beckham was nice. Good to see football legend. Yeah, David Beckham was good. Good to see his presence
Yeah,
there.
it's nice to
But
see
yeah,
what he's doing as part of that UNICEF program as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
great moment for him as well to
yeah.
come in and witness everything what is there.
I
That's
think
about
I
good
have to
night,
say
guys.
one thing though. Man of the match also has to be Rajnikant. I just saw Rajasthan Royals post where they said that 2011 as well he had come to watch the finals, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So
Oh
I think
yeah,
then Team India will hope that he travels to Ahmedabad towards the finals as well. And also, I
yeah,
think the tribute that Shami did with the ball like this, I think it was not for the bowling coach. Today it was for Rajinikanth, because
yeah.
it turned
you
out
know
well
Today
for Shami
initially,
and
Rajnikant will
Rajinikanth.
fly and give the winners medal. Watch out.
the
There
first
goes the
time I
golden
saw
medal.
him do that, some people thought it was for Harbhajan Singh. Some people thought,
Because
and he
Harbhajan
said it
Singh
was for the
said it
bowling
was
coach.
about him. Harbhajan
Yeah,
Singh
but
loves to make
I thought it
everything
was
about
about the
him.
hair on his head. I genuinely thought it was about the hair on his head.
Yeah, even I
Yeah,
thought it was about the hair on the head. You're showing it to his hair transplanter doctor.
Yeah, I thought.
but
But it's
I
really
mean,
worked for him. Man. Since his hair transplant,
it's
he's been
a
unstoppable.
it's another thing
no,
I
but
have
he's
seen.
always been. I think he's an ODI great for India. I think he's one of the
Yeah,
easily the greatest bowler. I would say he's the greatest ODI
I
bowler for
think
India.
he is. You talk about Bumrah, he is there
Changed my mind.
in
yeah,
1-2 with the greatest of the generation. He's won his
exactly.
No,
test
I think Shami
matches
won,
home,
Bumrah
away.
second. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, Bumrah
Shami
has a
won,
lot more.
Bumrah second. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I
mean,
think
just looking at
Bumrah,
the numbers.
Shami,
Just
Siraj,
looking
we've
at the
been blessed
numbers.
to see this trio. I'll also
Yeah.
add Ishant. We've been blessed in this generation also. Umesh. These five bowlers have really made our last 8, 9 years, whatever they
Yeah.
have made. These guys have really helped us. We've started to believe as a fast bowling nation for
Yeah,
the
but
first
also
time.
I think I would like to also address a unpopular opinion about Harbhajan Singh. I think he is making it too personal. He wants everything to be about him. I have personal grudges against him since the Pakistan versus South
Guys,
Africa
you're not
game.
going there,
For
are we?
for somebody who has so much of knowledge in cricket, who has done India proud in so many occasions, to come out there and question the
I'm
ICC
not
for
gonna lie,
depriving
but
Pakistan of a
a
game.
lot of those legends from the 2011 World Cup team has been very salty. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
very salty. A lot of them. I
Very
mean, I don't want to
salty.
take names.
I mean, see, I can
You know who was
understand
it.
a lot of them were ushered out of the team unceremoniously. I can understand.
But they're
I get
very
it.
salty.
But it's personal. I think that's the only thing
Very
they should
salty.
accept that they are
Every time
personally.
a counterpart performs, that's why I love Sachin Tendulkar. In that, I mean, he's so
Yes.
graceful. Today's
Yes.
Yeah.
post was so beautiful. If you had read it, you would really have a
No,
tear or two
and
in your
you
eyes
could see
because it
what
was
it meant
beautiful.
to Kohli. I mean, if you guys saw that
We'll just
mid-match
post that. We'll just
interview,
screen share and show that tweet, right? What Tendulkar posted.
Yeah.
We can carry on with the conversation while I do that.
yeah, I mean, just saw that mid-match interview, right? You could see Kohli was emotional. I mean, it was his what do you say, idol who came, who hugged him. He wasn't being salty about his record being broken at home,
Yeah,
and I think that's
and that is
always
how
been
things
Sachin
should be.
Tendulkar.
That is
He
But
that
this
is
remember
was
how
an
early
epic
ago
script to
he
break a
predicted.
record, right? Home ground,
Yeah,
that legend's
yeah.
home ground, in front of his statue, in front of him, in front of everything. And this World Cup semi-final,
even
oh,
a statue that
what?
looks like
See,
Steve
that is
Smith.
what, Jarin. I think that is what separates a great player from a legend, and I think that is why we
Yeah,
talk about Sachin Tendulkar so highly, and not some of the
absolutely.
2011
Yeah,
ODI players who were unceremoniously sacked from the Indian team.
yeah.
But nonetheless, I think they have had their days, and I don't know why they're so salty. Every time
No,
another
I think
spinner
that's
does
it.
well,
I
I
I
think
think he
mean,
understand
just
that's
goes
for
on.
salty. I
me,
agree
if
with that.
India goes on to win this World Cup, this is India's best. This is a better performance than 2011. But a
Absolutely.
lot of
Obviously,
these people,
Yeah.
this has been
I
an
think
absolute domination
2011,
so far.
2011 we won because of our home advantage. But this time around, I'm not saying that it was a bad team or anything like that. It was a team which was meant for that ground, those conditions. It was not a team which was dominating all around the world. Our favorite tag was because of how good we were in India in that period. But
yeah,
this team, I think, can generally perform anywhere around the world.
yeah, I agree. I mean, so this is what Tendulkar had posted for Virat Kohli. The first time I met you in the Indian dressing room, you were pranked by other teammates into touching my feet. I couldn't stop laughing that day. But soon, you touched my heart with your passion and skill. I'm so happy that a young boy has grown into Virat, the player. I could be more happier that an Indian broke my record and to do it on the biggest stage in the World Cup semi-final and at my home ground is the icing on cake. I mean, this is one of the most graceful posts out there. I mean, what
Yeah.
a moment, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
For
it's a teachable moment, right? Now, something like Sachin doing this, you're sure if another Indian or if anyone else breaks a record, Virat's going to repeat the same gesture. And that is
yeah,
a
Also,
legacy
Jarin,
that continues.
sorry, Abel, is this your Twitter account?
yeah, why?
Why are you not following Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli?
They're just it doesn't matter.
He
If I
only
follow them,
follows trashy Pakistani journalists.
yeah,
That is
yeah, yeah.
Abel's taste. He doesn't like
Why I don't
legends.
follow? Abhi to controversy when I don't follow Virat. I don't follow both of them, but they're doing good.
That is a nice thought. That's a nice point by Sandeepan. I'll agree. Why are
Yeah,
you being
very nice.
salty, Abel? Is
What
it
do
an
you mean?
IPL trophy that you're
Whose
not
fan am
happy
I?
about?
I don't follow any cricketer from this current Indian team. If you look at it,
Why are you being salty? you
I don't
sound
follow the
like
followers as well.
you sound
I don't
like
follow anyone.
2011 team saying that
So
आजकल
the
के youngsters
very
को
few
respect
people I
नहीं है and
follow
stuff like
are
that.
some football analysts, some cricket analysts,
Stop
because
being
I
a
like
Rachin
it.
Ravindra
Oh yeah, what do you mean?
and
What do
start
you mean?
being a Harbhajan Singh.
Oh yeah.
He is being a Harbhajan Singh. That's what
I'm
we're
being
pointing out.
obviously. But
Yeah, he doesn't.
I
He
don't know
doesn't like
what's
the
the
current
hate about
crop of
Harbhajan Singh. He's a
players.
World Cup winner. He's a legend of our sport. Sandeep Bani has true hate towards him. Yes.
Harbhajan Singh is also a T20 World Cup winner as well.
Yeah. But either way, I'm
He's
just
salty
happy that
because you did not let him complete the treble of the Champions Trophy win as well. I think he was ousted from the
I don't
team,
care about him at
and
this
that is why
point.
he's
I just
salty.
want if India goes on to win. I hope. I think a lot of people will be graceful, but there'll be
Yeah.
some people who will still not be graceful in saying that oh ऐसा किया pitch हमारा पास ऐसा fast ball
I
होता
think we
तो
can do away with those people. I think
No,
today
I
it's
think what
about
Harsha
being 10
Bhogale
on
said
10.
today was perfect. I saw
Yeah.
his tweet today. It was point, right? It was on point. It was like when you blame other factors for your own mistakes, you allow a certain sentiment. I mean, a certain mentality to fit into your team and settle down, and then you never grow or you never learn from your mistakes.
oh he's
That's
talking
it.
Pakistan cricket there.
No, he never mentioned which team. I don't think he's talking about.
If
I don't
India
think
wins the
he's
World Cup, Kohli will be the first Indian. No, Ashwin also will be there. So Kohli and
Ashwin
Ashwin
also.
will be the first Indians to win two World Cups. That's an immaculate feat, man. I mean,
I think they'll
that's
also be the first. They'll also be the only players in this decade, or I think in the last one decade, to win the World Cup twice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
So,
also I think Rohit Sharma will be the only person in this Indian team to complete the treble of ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup, and Champions
yes,
Trophy.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, correct, correct.
Dhoni was the only
Yeah.
guy. I think Dhoni, yeah,
Yeah,
Dhoni, right? Dhoni
Dhoni.
and Dinesh Karthik. No, no, not Dinesh Karthik.
Nobody
Dhoni,
else. Dhoni.
Yeah,
Dhoni. Yeah,
Dinesh Karthik was not there in the 2011 World Cup.
Dhoni. Yeah, Dhoni. Yeah.
Dhoni
It's Dhoni is the only one.
made sure that he won't take the same team, so that I mean, Dhoni was also trending, right?
There was like couple of names in two, but not in a treble. So yeah, there's a few people here and there. But yeah, wonderful for Dhoni as well. Fantastic, man. I mean, what a good night for them. All of you, we're almost going to be next day. So we'll join you all in this day itself in at 1:30 Indian local time after the toss. Hopefully, it's a South Africa winning toss thing and choosing to bat. I'm hoping.
And
But
guys,
yeah,
don't be salty. Let the moment sink in that we are in
yeah.
finals. India are in
As a
finals.
yeah, India in finals. Good news. We wanted this, but let's just not get ahead of ourselves. We still
Yeah,
have one
we
more
still
game,
have a
right?
match to play. We still have 100 overs left.
We still have a 2003 final revenge to be taken. Just put it.
Yeah.